Hello, dear humanity. Welcome to Season 3 of Human Thesaurus. Human Thesaurus is an engaging podcast where I invite a diverse range of friends and acquaintances to have a conversation with me, your host, Wishrokio Peacock. Each episode takes you on a wild ride through personal journeys, profound experiences, relatable rants, hilarious moments, and insightful opinions within different industries. With a focus on individuals who are defined by multiple words synonymous with who they are, my podcast explores various perspectives and personalities resembling words with several meanings. Through these conversations, you are invited to eavesdrop and enjoy a captivating exploration of the human experience. While you're at it, you can rate and subscribe, and you can check out my show notes at humanthesaurus.co. Reuben is a tech-savvy foodie with a secret identity as a nerd who can't get enough of both the DC and Marvel worlds. When he's not busy building software or honing his cooking skills, he enjoys going on hikes, dancing, learning about new cultures, and exploring new places. I met Reuben through work in Australia. Same with Coco, my last guest. And he was from our team in Melbourne at that time. And I was mostly Sydney based. And when he came in, he's one of these like super young, wide eyed, very eager type of worker. And I immediately got really close with Rubes. I call him Rubes. It's our nickname for affection for him. And I really enjoyed working with him, and we became very close. And we've been, I think, when it comes to going through some difficulties at work together, you get closer to some people that you can trust. And Rubes is one of that. I consider him as one of my little brothers that I just feel like I needed to watch after him from time to time. It doesn't mean that he's incapable. He's very capable, but I wanted to be there while his successes and everything is unfolding, his personality is unfolding, because it's a beautiful thing to see. My synonyms for Reuben are marshmallow as a noun, assembling as a verb, and kind hearted as an adjective. Within this conversation, you'll understand why I describe him as such. So, here he is, Reuben Coutinho.
Hey, my name is Reuben. Same as the word gadget as a noun, hug as a verb, and curious as an adjective. I like the word progress, and I'm not sure what word I dislike yet.
Wow, you're not sure yet. There's nothing in your life that a word can annoy you.
Yeah, I've not come across words that really trigger or annoy me per se.
Mm-hmm.
I've come to like, if there's a word, I just learn to like pass it under the bridge and not react to it, if that makes sense. I don't know how to yeah.
I think it
That's
does
just
make
me.
sense. That's very much you.
Yeah.
What's your verb is hug, right?
Yeah, my verb is hug.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. I was thinking about this, what would be my verb? When I started listening to your podcast for the first time, I was like, oh, that's an interesting concept. And then since episode 1, I've been thinking, what would describe me as a verb? And then, you said, hey, do you want to come and talk? And I was like, oh my God, I need to really figure out what my verb is. And I was talking to my partner, Liz, and she was like, hug might be a good one. And I was like, yeah, that is true. I do like giving nice warm hugs. That is my thing. When I first meet someone, I'd go in for a hug, then I'm a hugger. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
That's why we get along. We're both huggers. But this is what I love, right? I mean, my definition of you as a noun is marshmallow. It's kind of the same
Yeah,
marshmallow and a hug.
exactly. It's like they go well together. Like you'd love something like that.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow. See, I mean, there's an alignment there, and I
That's it.
really appreciate about you. And also, like, there are so many things happening with you right now, it seems. So, what have you been
Hmm.
up to lately?
So I've moved into my home. I've become a first home buyer.
Woohoo.
Before that, I met someone special. Her name is Liz.
Oh, hi, Liz.
And I've always like, had the most worst luck with like dating apps or, things
Mm,
like that. And it's so funny the way Liz and me met. And I'll come back to that later if you want. But so
yes.
it was, I met Liz, I bought a house, she moved in, like big things have happened in my life.
Mm,
Yeah, it's been exciting. It's been an exciting change, and that's why one of the words that I like progress is because you're moving forward and you're learning
mm.
things about each other and you're building on your relationship, so you're making progress in a way.
That's right. So that's great. I'm always proud of you when it comes to that. Everything just fell into the right places. So
Yeah.
let's get back to that. Since you've
Yeah.
mentioned it, how did you meet Liz?
For the longest time, I always had this weird vision of, when you grow up in like, Asian countries and you watch like these US films and you go, oh my God, that's so easy to fall in like meet someone and fall in love and then get married. And
Mm,
I always tried that approach and it never worked.
yeah.
And then I went to like dating apps because everyone you see these like things about, oh, the dating app is awesome, let's use that. And I tried using that. I was funny enough, one of the dating apps that I'm a lifetime member. It was so hopeless
Wow.
with my dating life, I actually became a lifetime member. And I was like, someone will click somewhere because, and
Oh.
it is what it is. But then someone said, why don't you just go and do the things you enjoy and
Mm,
do the things you love? And I think, from like a previous relationship, when I came out of it, it was really early on when I moved to Australia as well.
yeah.
So there were a lot of things about myself that I didn't know and I was learning. And one of the things that I found out is I love to dance. Apparently I used to love to dance when I was younger. And
Mm.
for some reason I just suppressed that. So I moved to Australia, learned how to dance, love doing
Oh.
it. In recent months I haven't just because of the recent changes.
Yeah.
But the way Liz and me met was after the whole COVID times, things were on lockdown.
Yeah.
Once things opened up, a friend said, "Oh, let's go dancing," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'd be
Mm.
keen to do it." And yeah, and there she was. She was in one of my classes, which I wasn't going to take because I was going to take some completely different class. And for
Mm-hmm.
some weird reason, she was there, and yeah, just things connected. We started talking, and I was still I was a bit shy in a way. And I was like, you know what? If you think she's cute and you like her, like you think you like her, you should just go and ask for her number. And I was like, actually, no, hang on. Let's ask at the end of the class because at least then if she says no, you don't see her again. And then you've saved yourself from embarrassment in a way. But what I didn't know at the time was she was not going to attend the last class. And so
Mm.
the week before, she came up to me and she said, "Hey, look, I'm not going to be attending the next class. Here's my number. And can you please send me the video of the dancing?" And at the time I was like, "Oh, okay. She just wants the video." And then,
Mm.
and I was like, you know what? Let's message, let's keep in touch, see what happens. And
Yeah.
I messaged her. We started talking more. And then I was like, oh my God, she actually did that so that she can keep in touch, not just because of the,
Yes.
of the video.
Guys
You know what I
should
mean?
take a hint. Guys have
Oh,
no
yes.
idea
No,
sometimes.
no. And I still sometimes, have no idea. And she has to then explain and be like, oh, this is what it is. And I go, oh my God, there should be like a manual given to guys once they turn in the teen years or when they're ready to date. Be like, this is what you need to be aware of.
I kind of gave a little bit of that with my brother.
Yeah. Mm.
Wait, what type
Yeah.
of dance class was this?
Yeah. So this was salsa. I was doing salsa
Oh,
classes.
so did you partner with her? Did it start
Yeah.
there? Oh my
So
gosh.
I didn't necessarily partner with her for the entirety of the course,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like, because it was a big group of people learning, we would swap with people.
Yes.
But I would kind of like sneak in, like cut in line and be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna jump in there and practice with her because she wants my help, kind of thing. And I would do
Right.
that very subtly, and
Wow.
people didn't mind because I've been dancing for a while. I had that, when you dance, you get that rhythm and you can
Yes.
pick up your moves really easy. So
Oh,
people were like, oh,
yes.
he knows what he's doing. Like, let him jump in or whatever. So yeah, that's that's how Liz and me met. And then
Wow.
yeah, we kept in touch. We kept talking, and then one day I was like, oh, you wanna hang out with me? And she was like, yeah, let's go. And yeah, and from there things are history. And now 2 years later, we're going strong.
Yeah, it was so endearing when you announced that in our group chat with the
Yeah.
boys. So we were so happy for you because
Mm.
yeah, I mean it's a next step for you and you're
Yeah.
such a lovable guy, so you deserve all of that happiness. But
Yeah. Thank you.
I didn't realize that you and John's common denominator is dancing salsa.
Mm.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. Me and John would, whenever I came to Sydney and we talk, John would be like, "Ah, you want to come dancing?" Or, we'd always be like
Oh,
talking dance things apart from tech things as well.
wow. Yeah, I didn't know that part of you. That's why when you put here dancing, I was
Mm.
like, I wasn't aware that you were a dancer. I
Yeah.
know a lot of different facet of yourself, but not
Mm.
this part, and it's wonderful. So where did that come from? You said you were dancing even like when you were younger. Where did that come
Yeah.
from? Can you tell me for everyone to see how beautiful you are? What's your culture, background, and when
Yeah.
did you move to Australia?
Yeah, sure. So I'm from a place in India called Goa. Goa's
Nice.
like the southwestern part of India.
Mm-hmm.
It's a really small state. It's really beautiful. It was colonized by the Portuguese,
Mm.
like in the 1600s, I believe.
Yep.
I forget my history, so don't quote me on that. But they were colonized by the Portuguese far longer than the British had colonized India as a whole.
Mm.
And even under the British rule for the longest time, the Portuguese still had a strong influence in India.
Yes.
And I think that, sorry, in Goa, I mean. And so I think because of that strong cultural influence that the Portuguese brought to India, which on a side note, because I'm also a foodie,
Mm.
Vindaloo came from Goa because of the
Yeah.
Portuguese.
That's
And I'll come,
why. Okay.
yeah, yeah. Vindaloo literally is like, they used to like bring casks of wine and they used to ferment the meat in that.
Yes.
And that's how the magic happened there.
Wow. Okay.
So, because of the whole cultural influence of the Portuguese lifestyle, Goa was very westernized in a way.
Yes.
So, a lot of Western foreigners who would come down would like appreciate it because they didn't feel a bit different. Although the rest of India provides a very different culture and it's beautiful to experience that as well.
Yes.
Goa had its own little charm. And
Yeah.
Goa had a lot of beaches, a lot of coconut trees, a very chill lifestyle. There's a word like we say in Goa, like in Konkani, which is the language spoken there, is
Mm-hmm.
susegad, which means relax, just chill.
Again, what did, can you teach me?
It's it's pronounced. It said susegad,
Susekab.
suse
Susekab.
susegad.
Susegab.
Yeah, yeah,
Susegab. Okay.
yeah, susegad.
What?
So it's like
Susegab.
take it, yeah, just chill, just relax, take it easy, like kind of a chill vibe. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, and so like because of that, there was a lot of like dancing that would have like there was, I think dance was a common thing across a lot of different cultures, and I think it was more common for a lot of social events that we would have in Goa. So
Mm.
if there was like a house party, there was dancing. If there was if weddings, obviously there's dancing.
Yes.
If it was a birthday, there was dancing almost everywhere. There was dancing, and I think growing up, I saw my family kind of enjoy doing that. And
Mm.
I would always be shy to learn it because, growing up, you're like, oh, you got to hold a girl's hand and do all that. And so I would be shy,
Oh.
but I would always enjoy expressing movements through body. I think, like, I remember much younger, I used to do like these little moves, and no
Mm-hmm.
one knew what contemporary dancing was back then. But when I think back, and I was like, wow, if I had to actually continue down this path, I'd probably be doing some different career for sure. Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's where I learned dancing. Like, that's where
Wow.
I've got the roots from. But
I
my passion really
see.
kicked off when I came to Australia. Just for a bit of context, before I came to Australia,
Mm.
I knew how to dance jive, cha-cha,
Oh,
foxtrot,
yes.
waltz, because these are things you learn. They're like part of like a passage of rite almost with your dancing, and
Mm.
because it's very common in Goa, you just you pick it
Wow.
up. And then when I came to Australia, I didn't even think of dancing for like it wasn't on my mind. And when like the other thing, so like, I'll come back to my dancing story. I'll give you a little bit of context about my story to Australia. Right,
Yeah.
I came here 9 years ago, as of 2 weeks back. Which yeah, I can't believe it's been 9 years, but it's
Wow.
been nine
Yes.
beautiful years.
Yes.
And I came here to study, and so my focus was, let's heads down, let's do well, let's find good jobs, and hopefully, good grades will get me to where I am.
Mm.
So I was, very focused on what I wanted to do, and so I was concentrating a lot on my studies,
Yeah.
and I had good friends as well. So people who would look out for me, and I had a small bunch of really good friends. One of them said, "Hey, why don't you come? I'm going for dance classes. The uni's providing free dance classes. Why don't you come
Mm.
along?" After a lot of hesitation, one day I decided, all right, let's go. Let's do this. What's the worst thing that can happen? Yeah, I did like 3 weeks of dancing, of salsa dancing,
Yeah.
and I didn't. It was this thing that, wow, like there's a different way to express yourself while dancing. You can be a little flirty if you want. You can be really close.
Yes.
You can, and I kind of like, I don't know why, I just kind of enjoyed it. And then I think that was when I went down my path of learning different dance styles and dance moves. And so once that happened, I remember the dance instructor who was teaching us salsa said, "Why don't you come to
Yeah.
my dance school? I'm having a party, and you'll get to practice your moves and meet other people around, and maybe that might be a good networking opportunity for you." And
Yeah.
so we went down, we were dancing, and we were all uni students, so we were having good fun. It was a good break away from studies, and
Yeah.
it was nice. And I remember, I'll never forget this, because there was this dance teacher. Her name is Anara. I think now she lives in Sweden, I think, but she was from
Mm.
Perth, and
Okay.
she just randomly rocked up to me and she said, "Oh, I'm going to teach you bachata." And I was like,
Wow. It's so
"Okay."
hard.
Yeah, and on the spot, she taught me bachata without me having any background to
Wow.
bachata.
Yeah.
And it was the most, I was like, wow. Like, and she's like, "You're really good. Have you been dancing before?" I was like, Not really. I've just been doing salsa." She's like, "You've got a really good movement in your, like they say it's jinga, like it's your body expression, your
It
body movement
does.
when you do."
Yeah, bachatas like that. I tried.
Yeah.
I tried.
What did you think about bachata?
No, I love it. It's
Yeah.
but you do need that rhythm to begin
Mm.
with. I sort of have a similar background from you, but I think yours is more serious than mine because my eldest aunt and uncle, they are almost pro, not really doing well, they do amateur competitions, but I grew up in the environment where they do ballroom dancing and
Oh
I
wow.
love dancing too. So I could completely relate to you right now about like growing up surrounded by that. So I sing and
Yep.
I dance, but I even dance like when we have parties. I also dance with, we have dance instructors, that
Yep.
is being invited in our parties, and you dance with them. Even though I was a tiny little girl, nobody thought that I'm gonna grow like literally. It's like I'm really like a tiny girl, but yeah, I dance with dance instructors and I was very natural with it
Hmm.
because yeah, of the environment like you. But I think you pursued it more, you pursued it
Mm.
until now, which I actually didn't. I The last time I really did this regularly was let's say 2004, 2003, 2004. I
Okay.
I even had like a private salsa instructor for it.
Oh wow,
Because
that's cool.
I needed to be confident again to go to
Yeah.
salsa clubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I helped establish a salsa club in Makati before in Manila. But yeah, that's the end of it.
Okay.
So yeah, so in terms of bachata, it's just the next level when you get to know salsa and even foxtrot and bachata are
Mm.
really, it's a
Yeah.
different world and it's quite difficult, still technical, even if you're saying that it attaches to your soul
Yeah.
and the rhythm of your
Yeah.
body. It's because also
Yeah.
you're a natural. It sounds like you're
Mm.
a natural, Rubes, because I really
I
find it hard.
I don't know what it is, but it's just like you got that shake in your bone. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
find myself when I walk down the street and I'm waiting at the lights for it to turn green to cross the road. If I'm listening to music, I'll find myself either tapping my foot or practicing a move.
Me too.
It's so cool, like and then people look at you like, what is wrong with them? And you're like, the dance like the world's done watching, right?
Exactly. I love that. That's true.
Yeah,
Like, who
yeah,
cares?
exactly. Yeah, no, I loved it. But I should also let you know, like I went into kizomba, and that is my love. Like that is my love
Oh,
language with the
yes.
dance.
Oh,
It's a beautiful, beautiful dance, and that all came through this whole journey, right? Like I
mm,
found it because of dancing, and like it's from Angola. It's from in
yeah.
Africa, the country Angola,
Yes.
and it's a hug dance. That's how I describe
That's
it. It
why it's so you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a hug dance. If you look up on YouTube about kizomba, you see like all these moves, and you're like very like sensual, and you're like, oh, okay, wow, like this is not a hug. There's not hugging there, but like what you see is a variation of the dance in a way.
Yeah. Yeah.
From what I learned about the dance itself, it comes like in Angola because that was also colonized by the Portuguese at some point.
Yes.
And then when they left, the community kind of started dancing. And apparently the story I was told was when they started dancing, they would hug each other to console themselves because of the trauma that happened with the war. And like
Yeah.
I think there was a civil war or something that happened there, or
Yes.
something. And so they would hug each other and dance, and that then led to this dance form called kizomba, which it was, yeah, I don't
Wow.
know, it was in between me trying to find my dance self and my cultural identity in a way.
Yes.
And so yeah, that's how I came across kids. And again, like just happened to come across the dance as well, which was
Mm,
pretty cool. And this was like back in uni days as well. And so like when I say I was trying to find my cultural identity, when I came to Australia, a lot of people would rock up to me and be like, "Oi, tudo bem," and be like talking to me in Portuguese, and be like, "What is going on?" And they'd be like, "Oh, you're not Brazilian." I was like, "No, do I look Brazilian?" And they're like, "Yeah,
yeah, you
yeah, you're
do.
Brazilian."
And your
And I
surname
was
is Coutinho. Hello.
yeah, yeah, that's it. But the thing is, like, when you live, like for me, I never really thought of Portuguese as part of my identity,
Mm,
because growing up they were always like, oh, the Portuguese were bad, or like, oh, they colonized us and they did horrible things to us. And but then like once I came out of Goa, and then I came to Australia even,
yeah.
and people were like, "Oh, you look more Portuguese than Indian." And then I was like, "So what am I?" Like, it
Mm,
was very confusing at a time. And then I started doing a lot of research into it, and then I found out, like there was different there's different aspects of the Portuguese that we still use today. Like
yeah.
the road systems that are built in Goa were like because of the Portuguese. The architecture that's
Right.
there is
Yes.
Portuguese, and the first printing press in the world, I think, was by the Portuguese. That was made in Goa, and the first film ever made, I think, also was from Goa. But don't quote me on that.
We'll research on that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, yeah. There were like all these interesting things that I started finding out, and then I was trying to like try and create like a family tree to figure out where we like
All
were we
right.
Portuguese, or were we like just Indians, and now we have the Portuguese name, and
Mm-mm.
so it was a very like interesting time in my life. And then finding out, like finding Kizomba at that time
Yeah.
was like, it just seemed to be the right fit at that time, because it was a Portuguese, like it's an African dance style, but it's got Portuguese songs in it. Like all the songs are sung in
Right.
Portuguese.
Yeah.
And then because I love dancing, it just it felt natural. And yeah, I never yeah, I didn't look back after that. I was, I tell people, they're like, oh, you can dance, and I'm like, yeah, I can dance, but if you ask me to dance salsa, it might take me like a couple of minutes to like remember the steps. But if you ask me to dance kizomba, I can like wake up.
Wow.
You could like wake me up right now and say, dance kizomba with me, and I'll do it like instinctively. Like it's amazing.
So, do you think that trying to find yourself culturally, your roots and all of
Mm.
these, like, did this shape who you are right now versus a few years ago with this entire journey? What have you picked up from finding your roots or understanding even the background of your culture, of Goa, of your
Mm.
dancing?
Yeah, it's definitely been. I mean, I I don't want to like, like, they say don't praise your own tail in a way, but,
Go.
um,
You have a permission
uh,
to.
but in, like, when you're in Goa, you're always sheltered in a way, like by the
Mm,
community. So you never have your own thought. You're always listening to what the community says, because
yeah.
you listen to the elders, you listen to parents, and you always never try to like question or reason, right?
Yeah.
But when I had to come out of India and I had to like try and succeed for myself in a country by myself, without my parents or the community being here, in a way, I did not. In nowhere do I mean that I didn't have any support or friends. I had a lot of friends, a lot of support here, but
Mm,
I had to start thinking for myself in a way.
yes.
And so that's when I was like trying to like figure out, just figure out things about myself. And then there were a lot of things like, why do I do this? Like, I don't know why I do this. Just like silly, like, yeah, it was, what, like, they'll say, like, I was always told, oh, be home by 8 p.m. Always be home by 8 p.m. Be home early.
Mm,
But it was a different time and a different place and different lifestyle back then. But here, like, when I moved here, sometimes I had to work late because,
yes.
working at like, say, Macca's or, or like fast food joints, you can't choose what hours you want to work. You have to kind of work with the times, and you got to figure that out, right?
Yes.
So it was just like expanding my mind, I guess, in a way, to kind of accept other things, right? And so once you go down that path, then you start figuring out, and you say, oh, actually, why are we so super proud that, like, adobo is popular in Go, like, and then you like, I didn't know, until I moved to Perth, that adobo is like a popular dish in Philippines as well, right?
Yes.
Like, you have like whatever meats you want, and you have adobo there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, whoa, hey, I didn't know that, you know, there was a popular dish there as well.
Yes.
And then I think I told you I made sanrival, which is another like popular dish in Philippines, but in Goa we have our
Which
own
one?
version of it. Sanrival,
Sansereval. Oh, yes.
sansrival, yeah, we
Oh,
say
oh,
sanrival,
nice cake. Yes.
yeah.
And you
So
have
it's
it
just
too.
try. Yeah, we make it in Goa too.
Wow. Well,
Yeah.
the common denominator between that, I mean, it's nice to learn about Goa further because the only thing I know about Goa is like it's a beautiful beach place that's a
Hmm.
little bit more Western in a
Mm,
way. Our common denominator is that we're both conquered. Well, we were conquered by the Spaniards, but the
hmm.
one who discovered the Philippines is a Portuguese guy, and
Oh, really?
he's Portuguese. Ferdinand Magellan is a yeah, okay, yes, he's a Portuguese guy who was appointed by the King of Spain.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
now I could connect that as well now,
Mm,
understanding that we do have a connection then, and this will add to my repertoire of knowledge when it comes to my history as well, being Filipino, because apparently, like Goa is also conquered by the Portuguese, And we do share some of the same thing, mostly in food, right? I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's a starting point for us to discover who we are.
Yeah, I think food is a way for all cultures to discover who they are, right? Like you
Yes.
go to like different cultures and you're like, huh, we have something similar like that. I wonder who brought it first.
Yeah.
But it tastes great, and then when you're having food with someone, you're never angry with anyone. So I say,
Yes.
food's the way to go.
It is, right? Food will create world peace.
I believe that 100%.
we're we're such foodies that this is how we think. This is
Definitely.
beautiful, really. And coming from a foodie perspective, you as a foodie, what are the main factors in food that you're always excited about?
So for me, I think what I'm more, obviously one, the understanding the different tastes and flavors in the food,
Mm,
because some ingredients you can use, but they might taste differently with
yes.
different, like, some people use spices differently. And so just trying to get that. But I think what I look for is like how, if it's very similar, it excites me even more because I'm like, oh wow, like we have something in common. Like,
Yeah.
that's something we can bring closer to ourselves, because I think like a lot of people, they're like, oh yeah, no, we are from this part of the world, and so we got everything great. And but you're like, we have the same food, what's different? And it's not different in any way. We in anything we are more similar than anything, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yes, I do.
so that's what I kind of look for when looking for food. What's exciting, what's new. And then also like there's always like new restaurants, new places that pop up, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
always trying them new to see what have they tried. Mustard ice cream, who would have thought mustard ice cream was a thing?
Yum. Yum. That
But
sounds wonderful.
yeah, yeah.
Where did you try that?
I haven't tried it yet, but I've heard of this shop, like this ice cream place here in Perth,
Oh my
and
gosh.
it's on my list of things. I'll send it to you on.
Please try it. Take a video of it and tag me.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I've been trying to like make a list, I have a list of things that I want, places that I want to visit.
Mm.
And some of them are in Perth and some of them are like, overseas when I go and try them. So yeah, no, I'll definitely do that when I go and try the ice cream for sure.
Oh my gosh. You know that I've got just to share with you my trip to London because you're going
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow. So I discovered because it's such a great opportunity when you're in London, another melting pot. Like it's a completely different melting pot than Singapore. The similarity
Mm-hmm.
is that you can find authentic cultural food from different cultures, from different countries, and you can get it authentically, like
Oh
in
wow.
Singapore. And then in London, it's the same, or also in New York. But in London, I always make sure to find things that are that I can't get authentically down here. Number one is African food. And
Mm-hmm.
then number two would be like Jewish food or Israeli food,
Yeah.
those kind. And also like Italian food as well. Like, I've spoken more Italian in London that I've ever, like, I haven't spoken the language in quite some time. So it's so nice to speak it again. But
Oh
I
wow.
was surrounded with so many Italians in London in
Oh.
restaurants, and also like Indian food, English, British Indian food is also like super delicious and another interesting layer because it's part of that culture. So yeah, I discovered new things to eat which I'm going to recommend to you because this is there are so many similarities, but now what I found is something completely different. Like I went to me and my friend, I took her to a Palestinian restaurant in Notting Hill.
Okay.
And it's something that I never ever had before. The flavors are familiar, but still new. The presentation or the way they make things, like most of the meats are enveloped in a type of pastry or bread. That's how it's presented. So you can
Wow.
kind of like pick it up as one, like a pie, but it's not really a pie. And then you can just eat it like that. But you're like, why? Why do they put everything in a pocket, like a elevated
Yeah.
hot pocket. But so it's something that I wanted to discover some more. But it's just wonderful to see these things because and experience these different types of food. Or, for example, like African food for me is something that I wanted to explore more, but I don't have an opportunity down here. So every time I'm in
Hmm.
London, but everybody was saying that there are more northern African food in London. It's like, yeah, so be it. It's just because I
Yeah.
know they use spices differently. They
Hmm.
prepare food differently. So it's something that's just beyond me. So I'm going to give you this list and hopefully you can kind of try and have the same experience as I do because this is what our commonality is. We both love food.
Yes, please send me the list. That would be amazing.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. I also wanted to rehash more about, trying to catch up with you because,
Hmm.
what I appreciate about you is that when we don't speak for a while, you always ping me. And that's so, so, so endearing to me. I always appreciate that. Even if you forward me one funny kitty video, I appreciate that about you because we're maintaining to be in touch and
Yeah.
you're a very, very good friend. I consider you as a good friend. So it's something that I really value. So
Hmm.
now, apart from you building complicated Lego models, I need to ask you because you love both Marvel and DC Universe. And
Hmm.
I'm not going to tell you which one I am more inclined to, but if you're only going to choose one, Marvel versus DC and why?
Oh dear.
I
Oh
know it's going
dear.
to be a
You
very
put me in quite
difficult
a
thing.
spot. Uh, Look, I think if I think back to what I loved growing up,
Mm,
it was DC, right? DC
yes.
was the one that I kind of
Oh,
fell in love with more than Marvel.
this is
Marvel has been
interesting.
like a
Okay.
recent addition to my thing. I never considered Marvel until recently.
Really?
Yeah, when I say considered Marvel, I mean the entire Marvel, characters. X-Men was part of my thing. I used to love X-Men. I was like, oh, I'll be Cyclops any day. Like, I used to love being Cyclops. And even like even when I lived in India, well, some of my friends called me Colossus, um, which is
Wow.
the one of the X-Men,
Yeah, you are
who's
a colossus. You are so colossus. Okay.
yeah, because he's very protective of people as well. So I was like, oh, okay, I see that. I still was like, oh, Cyclops. They're like, nah, not Cyclops. You're Colossus. So I was like, okay, I can fly with that. That's cool. But my love for DC, I think, was like Superman to start with. He,
Yes.
he, he was this dude who, as a kid, found up like ended up in a foreign land, and people loved him, took care of him. He has so much power that he could do almost anything, but he chooses to do the right thing
Yes.
and help everyone that he can, right? And then Batman, which is like
Yes.
he's just a man, has no superpowers, but he's so smart that he can, defeat the most toughest of superheroes. And yeah, my appreciation for, like, initially Batman was like, oh, he's just a man. He's cool. But growing up, when you kind of like look at Batman, you're like, wow, he's
Mm-hmm.
either a lunatic or he's fascinating. Like,
Yeah.
because, like there was one of them, I don't know if it was a animated show or it was a movie,
Hmm.
but there was one thing where Batman is imagining his whole life, and the Joker is actually his psychologist helping him.
Oh my
I was like,
gosh.
what the heck? That is cool. Like, to take
Is
that
that
twist.
like it's like a comic book version,
Yeah, I'm sure
right?
it's the comic book
I think
version.
so. I think I've read that.
Yeah. I think it's a comic book version, and then they adapted that into. I can't remember if it was a movie or if it was a TV show, but they adapted it into like media, like
Yeah,
live
it's
action media of
you.
sorts.
Yeah, you mentioned when you mentioned that it kind of looked familiar. Like I could
Mm,
visualize it. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, no DC. Sorry, Marvel fans, but DC.
Yay! Thank thank you. We're really friends. I'm a DC. I'm an OG DC fan.
Yeah.
I know it better. I mean, I know it
Yeah.
better growing up and I could resonate with it better. I think my love for them elevated in college days when you're
Mm,
a little bit more aware, you have a little bit more perspective about life, especially during when Alex Ross made Kingdom Come.
mm.
So I had more, like, I've been more in love with DC and the characters. Yeah, the respect that I have. And yeah, we're so much alike. What the hell?
You should, when you come visit, I should show you my. I'll send you a picture, but when you come visit, I'll show you my collection of Batman. Like, I've got all,
Wow.
all Lego, everything Lego Batman. I've got his cowl. I've got the Bat Cycle from the new movie. Yeah.
Wow. Wait a minute. So you've been sending us your video of
Mm,
you building Lego models for hours.
mm,
Like these are
mm,
complicated stuff. So it
mm-hmm.
has been your hobby for a while now?
Recently, yes, I used to like doing Lego when I was younger. My
Mm.
dad introduced me to Lego, to the techniques. They have
Oh,
these, building like these
yes.
complicated vehicles, but they work. You know what I
Mm.
mean? Like, so I kind of
Yes.
liked it then. And then growing up, you never really got Lego because it wasn't the most accessible gift, I guess, or
Yes.
toy to
At
get
that time,
at the
yes.
time. But now that
When
now
you're
that I've got
when
a
you can
job of
afford things.
exactly, exactly. Yeah, I don't know how I actually even got into doing Lego recently. Trying to think back, I think I had the Lego from the Christian Bale Lego. Christian Bale Batman
Yeah?
when he was in the Dark Knight Rises. He had, how he had that the bat that just flew in the air.
Yes?
I had a Lego
You
of
have
that, and you don't,
that.
yeah, and you don't get that
Oh
anymore
my
apparently. And I was like, ooh,
goodness.
collector edition. So I had that, and then I brought that over to Australia when I went home last.
Yeah?
And I think something, I don't know, something then must have ticked in me to like, oh, you should, look at the next Lego thing.
Mm.
The sale, there was like a sale going on, and I saw the Batman cowl on sale. So it's just the headset that Batman
Yeah?
wears, and I built that thing, and I was like, wow, okay, there's some piece that it brings you. It's very mindful. Like when you're building that, you're not thinking about anything else. You're not focused on
Right.
anything. You're just focused on getting one piece at a time and building the whole thing. And then when you look at it once you're done, and you're like, wow, that's fascinating. That was amazing.
That's a good type
That's
of meditation, isn't it?
it is. I think there is. Everyone would say, oh, try just meditating, try doing something, but you got to find meditating your own way. I think, and this was
Yes.
my way of just being mindful. And yeah, no, that's how I started with
I
my
see.
Lego building.
Yeah,
Yeah,
keep on sending us the video because I find it fascinating. It's just like, okay, I don't have the patience for that, but he's
yeah,
doing it. I'm just going to watch it because
yeah.
for me, like, oh, it's so cathartic to see someone building it and then you finish it. And it's like, yay,
Mm,
finish. It's like, I don't need
that's
to
it.
do it.
I was thinking about this and almost doing it like a service and be like, hey, you want Lego, but you don't want to build it? Send it to me. I'll do it for
Oh
you.
my God,
Like
you
no
should
problem.
have an OnlyFans for building Lego. I'm sure it's somebody else's fetish. Also, with your
Ah,
beard,
for
don't shave
sure.
your beard. It's like a
Yeah.
bearded guy
Yeah.
building Lego on
Yeah.
OnlyFans.
Yeah. Oh, and can you imagine like if I go like into the bush and like I've set up in like some quiet tent, bearded
Yeah.
guy builds Lego in remote cabin. Oh,
Oh my gosh, you're
what
you're
a
doing
sale.
you're doing your meditation, you're doing something you love, and then someone's watching you and paying you for it.
That's it. That's it.
This is a great idea. I'll be your manager.
Trademark.
I'll be your agent.
Trademark this right now.
Yes. I'll be your agent, Rubes.
Done. Done.
No,
That is
seriously. Wow. Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, no, and I make time lapse. I like make videos of them because I think people underestimate how long it actually takes to make Lego,
Mm.
and they're like, oh yeah, it's easy to make, and then I tried I was like, oh my god, I don't know if anyone's actually doing like these time lapses or videos of building the actual Lego. People review it and they're like, oh, this is cool. Yeah, this is what it is. But no one actually like builds it up.
Mm.
So yeah.
It's inspiring, like sometimes you wanted to do something but you don't know how to start, and then you just
Mm,
search on YouTube. And then
hmm.
there's always this one person, even just one user, normally
Yeah.
5 YouTubers, who would
Mm,
show you how to do it.
yeah.
And it's so inspiring. And then you just do it. And sometimes it's ultra niche, but
Mm,
someone will always do it. And then you can get a guide and then you can get started. Because I think what's hard for any of us, as simple as just looking at a box of a very expensive, complicated Lego model, you're like, how am I gonna start? So you
yeah.
needed some inspiration sometimes. So sometimes looking at your video, it's like, oh, probably I could do that,
Mm,
So
yeah. Yeah.
it's just a wonderful media, really. YouTube, I really appreciate that about them.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So with this talk, like seeing you throughout the years, I remember when you were a little bit unwell with your kidney, and
Hmm.
I was worried sick about you because you were on your own too. And you just moved to, I believe, right? You just moved to Perth that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just moved to Perth then.
Are you feeling better when it comes to your health?
With regards to the kidney stones, yeah, they've gone like
Yes.
it was 14 mm,
My
and
gosh, that's
apparently
huge.
the size, like the hole from your kidney to, when you have to flush it out, that whole size is like 7 or 8 mm, and so it would
Oh
never have
my
passed out ever.
gosh.
So it was always in there. And here's another shocking fact. I don't know if you knew this, but I had that for at the time when I got it out, finally, I had it for about 6 years.
Yeah, you told me about how long has it
Yeah.
been. So I
Yeah.
I all the more that I was worried for
Yeah.
you, and it wasn't pleasant anymore
Nah.
because it's difficult. It must be
Yeah. It
so
was, it was
difficult.
challenging.
Yeah.
It was definitely challenging. For whatever reason, I just decided not to go to the hospitals at the time. But, I eventually, I think a friend saw me in pain and he was like, nah, you're going to the hospital
Mm,
right now. And I went to the hospital, and then one thing led to another. And then they were like, nah, you got to get this out ASAP. And so, finally, yeah, I was like, yep, let's do it.
yeah.
Went to the hospital, got it removed. And when they took it out, they showed me the thing, and I
Oh
was
my
like, my God, they look
gosh.
like little baby teeth. Like,
Oh
it's
my
freaky.
god.
And I was like, I had that in. Oh
For
my God. Like,
years. You carry that
why did
pain in
I?
years. But that's
Yeah.
guys are like this. Men are passive when it comes to their health. Oh, it's fine. Oh, it's fine until it's worse. I mean, you're
Mm,
not the first one who does this to themselves, but anyway, I'm so glad because that's
mm,
also a wake up call that your body's telling you something.
yeah,
You have to heed that call,
definitely.
listen to it. You're young, and you can't take that for granted. Health journey starts when you were aware of it already.
That's
And
it.
I want you to really have a fulfilling life with Liz, and
Oh, thank you.
that's very important to me, to make sure
Mm,
that you're okay. And I'm always confident about that. Also, you've gone through leaps and bounds in the past few years. So from now, what do you think was the biggest reality check, or the biggest reflections you've gathered from your journey so far, being in Australia on your own and evolving and all of these?
some of the things that I've learned over time is you can't do things alone.
Yeah.
You definitely need help and support. In whatever it is, like whether you want to learn how to cook or you get things on YouTube, yeah, sure, but sometimes you just need that human
Element.
touch or human perspective and the human
Yes.
element in it. That's right.
Mm,
So always make sure you have your support network. You've got your people that you can count on and rely on in the good times and bad times. The other thing I think that I have if I reflect upon, I think always be curious and never be like, I want to say, never be judgmental to begin with. If someone's acting weird, you never know what they're going through. And so you just have to like, obviously be wary for your health, your safety as well. But at the same time, don't be like, oh yeah, now let's ignore them completely in a way.
Mm.
I think that's what I've, mostly, the other thing, which obviously through this whole time that we've been talking, is try new foods. Always
Yes.
try new foods.
Yes.
Because you never know what's gonna, fancy your palate, and
Yes.
you might just be the next. You might just get inspired to start cooking and be the next master chef. All
I agree.
Yeah. So that's my 3 takeaways.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's really, really beautiful, Rubes. So, in closing, what's
Mhm.
the word that you can impart to our listeners about you and why?
All right. So the word about me, I think I would say curious and food. I don't know
Mm.
if there's a word that encapsulates them both, but be curious.
Curiously hungry.
Yes, that's it. I'm curiously hungry. I'm always interested. If you have food, I think, if I ever got like, I had some secret and someone had to like get it out of me, food would be the way, I think. I think that's my weakness also. But that's my thing. Like, be curious, try new things, as long as it doesn't harm you or harm others around you. Explore. Just find out what the. That's why I like traveling, is because when you go to places, you're like, oh, that's new. No one ever
Mm.
listed that on the travel website. But
Yeah.
that's an interesting thing. I found it out, and that's cool. So you can tell others about it.
Yes.
So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question in a way, but
It does. Thank you, Rube. This is just a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's nice to finally catch up with you in this way.
yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So, are you really
Thank you
gonna
so
shave
much.
your beard later?
I will. I will. I want to. I don't want to, but I will have to, because I've been told that if my dad's like, oh, if you come here, I will shave it off for you. And I was like, oh dear. Yeah, let's not get into that.
Okay. Then after your shave, can you send me your profile photo that I'm gonna post on my website?
Sure. Sounds good.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Rubes. Take care and
Thanks.
have fun in London.
Thanks, Wish.
Thanks. Bye.
See ya. Bye.
Take care. From this episode, one of the most important words about life is curiosity. It is a strong desire to know or learn something. It's similar to words interest, oddity, spirit of inquiry, nosiness, inquisitiveness. Ken Robinson, a British author, speaker, and international advisor on education in the arts to government, nonprofits, education, and arts bodies, quoted, "You can't just give someone a creativity injection. You have to create an environment for curiosity and a way to encourage people and get the best out of them." End quote. Learning stems from our willingness to be open to our environments, cultures, histories, and the rest of our lives. Being curious takes our learnings to the next level. Education does not happen in just schools and books, but the way we interpret our imagination. And you know what? Curiosity is that force that will always take us places. Thank you for listening to Human Thesaurus. Please help me rate and subscribe because your support means a great deal. Join me again next week for another episode. And while waiting, why not listen to my past few episodes? You may find one of them amusing. I'm your host, Wish Ronquillo Peacock. Have a fantastic day and thanks for listening.